Well, thank you for jumping
Good
on.
evening.
My buddy's still running a little late, but he'll jump in here when he gets here. So
Awesome. I appreciate you coming on.
yeah, you
Appreciate you having me.
still up in the tree?
I am still up in the tree. Yep, the sun's going down on me.
I know. I thought about it too. I'm like,
Um,
the lighting's gonna be a little off, but it's still good. It's still light out.
I'll just rappel down quick. I'll take the strap off and I'll just rappel while we talk and
So how
whatever it
high
takes
are
to
you?
get some views.
How high are you up right now?
Um, I was gonna say medication wise, I'm probably about 60, 70 feet.
Oh, okay. Wow.
On the side of 60, 70 feet from the trees on the side of a hill.
Jesus.
I got Gunstock Mountain to my right over here. I got Lake Winnipesaukee to my left.
Oh, nice.
So
Wow.
if I take this phone off, and I might have to go a little early if I drop the phone. Yeah, it's a new clip, and I'm not. You know what? Oh shit! Yeah, let's go back to. I'm not going to mess with that. It's clipped to the tree. I got it strapped up, so we'll just leave it there for now.
That is awesome.
Seeing is not really the important part anyway. But to be up here, I figured it at least gives people something to gravitate towards. So maybe they'll pay attention to the conversation. Because it's extremely important that we get focused to all the families involved. It's dads have got the raw end of the stick for a long time with it. And now it's everybody. I've been sitting in a courtroom for 10 years fighting pro se. I've only had one attorney and he did me wrong. We can get into all that. So to get into it real quick, no lawyer is of servitude to you first. They're always of servitude to the ship. That's why they call it a judgeship. It's a judgeship. When you walk into a courtroom, those lawyers pass the bar. That's where they sit against the bar of the ship. That's a mock ship in the courtroom. So I've gone down rabbit holes of, constitutional law versus admiral law of the sea, which is commerce law, which is what, they stick us in for divorce, because it's really a dissolving of your civil union. And that's, everything's a play to get us pitted against each other as human beings. And we need to get back to humanity and realize, like, this is the one system I believe. And I believe I was chosen to fight this fight to the end. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, gay, trans, Native American, Hindu, Asian, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Muslim, Christian, it just doesn't matter. They don't care. If you have children, they want to get you stuck in the system. They know the stats on what happens in single parent households when it comes to prison stats and all these other stats of mental illness and everything else. Family structure is very vital and important to our constitutional republic.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not a democracy. So people forget this, and that being a constitutional republic, and I am not giving legal advice, everybody needs to research for themselves. This is how I have done it. And the modification that I was just given, the judge doesn't realize, but she shot herself in the foot. And the lawyers, because she took my children's legal rights to their father after 10 years of allegations and claims. And literally wrote in the modification, because she was mad at me because I called a pedophile child abuser. And I can get into that. She said tried to say I body shamed my daughter by sitting my daughter down camping last year because she was addressing her 12-year-old cleavage, midriff, and butt out at a campground. So I had the dad talk with her. That got home to mom. Mom said that was body shaming. Her lawyer said that was body shaming. They said it in court, and I explained to the judge. Yeah, and I explained to this female judge, as a 42-year-old father to my daughter, Your Honor, I sat her down and I told her exactly why I fell in love with her beautiful, conservatively dressed mom. I didn't meet her mom at a bar. I met her on a blind date through a friend, my barber. And she didn't show her body parts. She's a pre-Olympic German English swimmer. I could say it on here, she's got double D's, a banging ass, and she had a midriff before I had two children. But she knew how to show the assets, but not give away so she would be respected. And that's why I chose her. And I said, this is different than every other woman I've met in the world. I'm going to fall in love and I'm going to have my children with this woman.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful woman. I am truly blessed in the fact that, she's not on drugs. She doesn't drink. Like, my children are safe, and I'm truly fortunate. So it's one of those pieces where I put it together and I'm like, you know what? This is whatever Lord anybody believes in out here, you know. I believe in the universal religion, which all of our religions kind of tie together if you believe in them all.
Yeah.
They're all very similar to each other. Religion, that word is where we get screwed up. It's all about spirituality and finding each other and peace with each other, love with each other, acceptance with each other. We can't do that when we have court systems that, hey, some families, some people, my grandmother had children with 3 different suitors. You know what I mean? I have aunts and uncles that are from 3 different fathers.
Yeah.
I love them all as my aunts and uncles. Like we were taught growing up in the 80s and 90s that, hey, divorce is going to be okay. You're still my grandma. That's why my businesses are all family. Anything I ever do for a business is all family.
Yeah.
All family, whatever. All family breakfast billiards is my retirement.
Yeah. What's tough
But
now though
it's always
is
all families. My grandmother taught. Yep.
yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. What's
Go
tough
ahead.
now is especially with the court system,
Oh,
with those they understand the stats, they know the stats are out there, and yet they're still doing the same. It's the same
yep.
system. Nothing's changing. So that was one big reason why I started the
So
podcast for sure, is to change the system, get so many people behind it where they
yeah,
have to do something.
it's it's getting worse because, like I said, being in there for 10 years, and thank you for getting me back to that. That's what I will need and that's why I need people to help me, is because obviously I'm just like, a brand new M60 at basic training and just fucking popping off rounds.
Yeah.
It gets me, I start talking about the stuff. So back into the court system, it's gotten worse.
Yeah.
The old guard of judges understood and knew that you always had full leniency of the court as a pro se parent. And the reason why you're supposed to have full leniency as pro se is because if not, they're infringing upon all of your human and civil rights because you don't have a representative of the ship. If you don't have a lawyer, you're there in your sovereign citizen soil boots, and law of the land trumps law of the air and law of the water. A lot of people don't know and understand that law, the word, is actually an acronym for land, air, and water. And I told this Judge Jacobs, I said, you're the bottom fruit. You don't understand that without me having a lawyer, anytime you try to tell me anything that's against me having my children as a safe, productive father, equal time with their mother, you can't charge me money because full color of the law, 5 different Supreme Court cases, Feldman versus New Jersey in 2020, a state case, all say that through the Consumer Board of Affairs, child support's an unconstitutional state order.
Wow.
It's
See,
illegal.
10 years will get you all
It's
that
unlawful,
experience.
not illegal.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Oh yeah, and
wish
then
I
I
was
just found out,
more
people
versed
send me
on this.
stuff that judges' retirements. I just found out. I have to do more research on this. Is pulled out of their pensions, and their retirements are pulled out of the child support.
That just makes zero
Thanks.
sense.
Like child support isn't meant for our families. It's not meant for our families. It's another state slush fund, like everything else. They use it to rob from us to pay Paul. They invest the money because it's sitting in a bank. So anytime you have a bank account, I don't write the check out to my former spouse. I tried that. They didn't like that.
Yeah.
They didn't like that. It wasn't every other week as a self-employed man who, so a quick backstory for me. So I grew up in the system. My parents divorced young, 4 or 5 years old. So I was stuck in this system right away, and the personal damage to me. So my dream was always to have a family. I build my life. I get a family. I didn't build my foundation properly in the first floor. Kind of everything fell apart with alcohol and booze. I had a failed military career under 6 months, but probably saved my life and my mental ability, because 20 days after my discharge date, September 11th happened, and I would have been gone. I would have been going to war after training.
Yeah.
My old I stood. I've always lived the integrity of my Army core values, and I just know I've been saved for this battle, for this war on our home front that could unite us all if we all wake up and say, "Wow, wait a second, we have a system that's screwing everybody equally."
Yep. So going back to your
seen
story,
moms do go.
Yeah, my bad. There's a little lag, but going back to your story and your situation, what happened with you? Like, did you have a clean divorce, a clean breakup, or no?
I was 95, 98% to blame.
95, 98% to blame.
So I was raised again without a father. I was, I'm to blame.
Yep. Okay.
The other 2% was the way she reacted. Like I said, I married a beautiful, lovely woman.
Yep.
The yin and yang of love and hate, passion is the circle. You know, love and hate fill the circle of passion.
Yep.
You know, so she truly loves me. It's just the hateful side of it. It's that side of passion now. But I drank and found cocaine starting my first business. I did very well, $60,000 in cocaine in 10 months. You know, $500 to $800 a week in cocaine, and then drinking, sporting events, all under the guise of building a business. I'm doing business and da 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 da. So when the court papers came and she filed and she said, you know, she's neglectful to his family and da 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 da. I said, yeah, if I'm an alcoholic, because I had just gotten sober at the time of signing the papers, and I told my lawyers why I never gave him a dime. I said, listen, we need marriage counseling. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a coke addict. Like, I just need help, and we need to learn how to communicate. We could possibly save our marriage. I need a line in this, like, we could handwrite it. And like, he turned to me and said, no, this is a deal I got for you. This is what you're signing. And I was only like 5 or 6 months sober, so I still didn't have what I have now.
Right.
I would have told him to pound sand and get the fuck out of the room. Sorry, I don't.
Yep.
I swear I'm very honest person.
No, you're good.
I'm like this every. So what I used to have to be like by getting drunk, I'm just like now everywhere. But yeah, so I woke up Father's Day morning in 2012. My daughter was 2 years old. My son was 2 months old. And they weren't in the house. The night before, I tried to give her the pity party excuse of being drunk and, you know, just crying about my history and my past and saying stupid shit. And she included all that in the thing. And I told my lawyer on the affidavit where it said I said all these things. I said, I don't know. I was drunk and high on coke. I don't know exactly what I said. But listening to what you're saying, when I'm drunk and high on coke, I'd probably say shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking for a pity party excuse to say, just go to bed, wake up Father's Day morning, go to the canal and go fishing. Not wake up on Father's Day morning and not have a family.
Dude, but good for you to, I mean, obviously it's been a while, but good for you to, you understand that it was your fault. You understand that, you know, you were the problem in that situation.
Big time.
Yeah. That's big.
Huge. I tried to kill myself that New Year's of 2012 to 13, New Year's night. Tried to kill myself throwing the wheel of the vehicle, thinking in my drunk state of mind that, you know, my grandmother who passed away was always my guardian angel, still is. And, you know, I'll be closer to my children because court was going horrible. And you know, I knew I was sucked into a money system just like my father was. But back in the 80s, 90s, he could hightail to Carolina and not pay the note.
Right.
But what he didn't realize is the support is being there. You know, you got to be there. That's a child support.
Now,
that's what I've always done for my children. Before COVID, I was picking my
child, bringing
them to school.
So so that's what I was going to ask you. But do you have any custody of your kids now, and how are you and your ex with all of that?
Oh no, horrible. It's only gotten worse. Since the female judge took over, so Judge Nisi, Honorable Nisi, so in Massachusetts, I had Honorable Nisi. There's an original guardian ad litem report from 7 or 8 years ago that said as long as he shows consistent sobriety and a consistent place for his children, full 50-50 legal and physical across the board, which they don't want because now that's worth over $2 million to the state if it lasts till they're 20-something years old.
Right.
$1 million per child in my child support. You know, you can figure out what you're going to pay if you multiply it weekly.
Yeah.
Over the course of time and what you're worth. Here's the other thing with the system that came to my mind. Why is my buddy's kid worth 400, but my children are only worth 75 apiece?
Yeah.
Why are children worth different prices? Standard of living, it shouldn't matter. If that woman can't do the standard of living alone, or that man or that person, that human can't maintain the standard of living alone, then you're going to set that family up for failure. Because right now, if I cut this line, I fall from the tree, she gets nothing. My children get nothing.
Yep, I could go down that road forever.
She has to lose the house, lose the vehicle. She has to lose.
Yep.
And it's literally a system designed to destroy the family nucleus.
Yeah.
And if we can destroy this system, not even destroy the system, because you can utilize the system, the same people in the system. So you're not getting rid of the jobs or anything. You're just changing the judges and lawyers' mentality.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can separate the fact that your civil union, all your business assets together that you acquired, your monetary assets, not your children being included and lumped into that with the social security number and birth certificate, and that's how they get them in that system. They look at them as a physical monetary asset instead of the human beings that they are,
Yeah.
which is why this judge gave them lawyers instead of a second GAL. So yeah, I mean, I could go for days on my case.
Yeah.
My main goals is to help everybody else. My children's rights were just stripped from them a few weeks ago. This Saturday, I was supposed to have my son on the third modification visit every other week for 7 hours. Now that's decreased from me being his head coach last year for flag football, dismissing 10 of his friends from school twice a week. They were in high school playing a sport. Parents loved it. First person I asked when I started to be the coach, my former spouse, my children's mom, my wife, my first wife. And that's the thing. I heard you talking on one of the other podcasts. We had the parenting courses in Massachusetts you're forced to go to. That was one of the first things they told us and taught us.
Yeah.
It's your children's mom. It's your children's father. It's the other parent. It's your first wife. It's your first husband. You don't say X.
Yeah.
You sound like you want to take an X. You know what I mean? X and X. It just sounds horrible.
Yeah.
So I still say my wife.
Yeah.
I love her. She's my wife. Why? She's the mother of my children.
Yeah.
You know, why can we cheat on each other in high school and middle school and 40 years later, everything's still cool between us? But shit, you cheat on each other with a couple of kids and you can't get along?
Right. Yeah.
You can't be human. You can't say, all right, your dick fell on something else. You fell on a dick. Like, but we have children, so let's fucking
that's literally
and,
yeah. That's literally the biggest part about it is that, especially when you have kids, okay, you get divorced, but it's still now you have these kids that you have to take care of for the rest of your lives. You know, are you going to want them to grow up without a dad, without a mom, or you know what I mean, on either side? It's like, how is that helping your future generation get better, get to where they need to be?
Exactly. And now my case, though, I have the federal court papers to sue the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Bristol County, Susan Jacobs, 7 other attorneys, Ruth Ann Withers, Tasha Bazell, 2 of the worst attorneys that have been involved. They're the current ones. One's for my son and one's for my former spouse. Both North Attleboro attorneys where I grew up. Both knew my uncle Tony Kelsey, who retired from the Park and Rec Department, a dare man, beloved by everybody in the community and the community surrounding, because he was also vice president of the YMCA in the area. And I grew up with this guy in Park and Rec programs. I grew up changing diapers of 20 other cousins. I was the first one to hold my wife's nephew when he was born, because she never held a baby. So I'm dealing with a narcissistic mother-in-law who killed her daughter's self-esteem growing up.
Yeah.
And killed insecurities. You know, didn't teach her, like, hey, when that football team's picking on you because you're a swimmer, and when you go like this, your Christmas tree in your back and your body's beautiful, and they're actually hitting on you.
Right.
But when you act like a bitch in return, now you're just a bitch.
Yeah.
But if you can take a little joke and maybe give a little zing back, now you're falling in love, baby.
Yeah. I love it.
So it's all in how we deal with stuff in perspective, and it took me sobriety and this hell to realize it. And my life is all of our lives are built. Your life led you here, and I mean, I'm so sorry you had to live and your family had to live through whatever you've gone through. But to get you to this spot to where now you're going to help millions of people.
Well, so that's the thing.
That's what you're going to do.
Yep,
you have one of the number one podcasts.
Yeah, I look at it the same way. So, you know, I struggled. I'm still struggling. I'm still in court, and we're 6 years in, and it's very frustrating. But for me, starting this podcast, being able, because I'm a videographer, so being able to kind of, you know, express myself and post this stuff up, I feel like I'm here for a bigger reason to help. You know, I've talked to so many other dads going through the same situation or a crazier situation, and you know, dads don't have the outlets. They don't express themselves like this. They don't really talk their feelings out. They don't do that sort of thing. So, but when you hear when they do, it actually helps them out a lot.
It really does, and it's kind of like the Billy Joel song. I love music; it's helped me get through, and that's another. I mean, I'd love to come back on here. I'd love to sit with you. I'd do as many podcasts as you allow me to do. Love music. Oh, one of the big things I really wanted to get into, part of the reason why I came up the tree and I wanted to put this show on, it's really important for all the dads listening. If you're going through a judgment or if you're having a modification, if you have Skype, you have it in your written in your judgment, written in your order. I think it's one of the blessed things that we did. I got to Skype 3 times a week, 15 minutes. Now, she wouldn't allow me any other phone calls or anything, and they weren't allowed to call me. But to have that written as a court order, that 3 times a week or 4 times a week or however many times you can get on Skype, because now your child's looking at you. And even though I felt like a cartoon to him or a TV show from time to time, they still got to see my presence and they still got to talk to me. So while they were young, this is what I would do to keep their attention.
No, but that's very very important.
4 and 3 and 5.
Yep, especially when they're that young, they have to see your face.
That helped them.
Yep.
Yeah. Have to, and whatever you can, and then knowing what legal rights mean. It took me 8, 9 years to find out that I could have signed my children up for any sport they ever wanted. As long as, if you have 50-50 legal, you just have to provide the money and the transportation. You have to be available. And the other parent can't stop you. As long as the child wants to play, as long as you're paying and providing transportation, you're available for the times. That's the only way my son was ever able to play football, because his mom was picked on in high school by football players.
So she didn't like it.
She doesn't want him to play football.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. No,
like literally that's.
It must be nice to be so well versed on. I mean, you're very well versed on all of this, but it sucks that you had to go 10 years to get to this point. But it's at the same time, you're going to be able to help a lot of people out because of that.
So that's the goal. When I saw, I had a great ego, and it finally got a hold of me when I saw this judge give a prisoner in jail more respect and more time with his children than myself. Judge Jacobs, literally, I watched her before taking my case, look at a prisoner on the TV and say, well, I really think it's important that your children go in there and see you. I'm like, that's child abuse. Yeah. You're going to have his children searched to go into a prison to see him. But my children, who have 2 beautiful bedrooms, everything they need, God forbid something were ever happened to their mother, they have bedrooms, and like we're maintained.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this judge told me I had to be homeless as long as I'm paying the note on child support. I said, no, there's a big difference between those bills and this unconstitutional state order.
That's what's also crazy.
And you don't have the right to stop my life, liberty, pursuit of happiness.
Yeah. So that's what's crazy too, is the court system almost screws the person paying child support, because sometimes it is women, but when it's men, it's you're knocking them down so much they can barely even live for themselves. They're paying so much in child support. And how do they even live? How can they support 2 families? You know, it's unbelievable.
It's dude, and they do it on purpose, because like you said, they know the stats.
Right.
It's a privatized prison system. They get money for people being in there. They need to pay those pensions and securities of the COs.
Yeah.
You know, they need the lunches for the foods for the prisoners. You know, but like I told this judge, like, I'm done. I'm going to BCC. And I told her, like, listen, you got this knuckle dragging tree climbing high school dropout to enroll at the local community college for paralegal legal studies, you know, and then after that, I'll do his associates in business. And it was never, I just hated school. I hated the institution of school, you know, and getting out and having YouTube now and finding out that it's based on 17th century Prussian model of school because they lost a war to Napoleon.
Yeah.
And Horace Mann from Franklin, Mass brought this to us. And he's right in the fact that it's great for capitalism, it's great for communism, it's great for socialism, it's great for a constitutional republic as an education. But now you have a liberal school union that has totally corrupted it and totally propagandized it for a globalist party.
Yeah.
It's no longer a Democrat party. It's no longer a Republican party. You know, the Civil War, I could get into so much because I've had to learn so much. And that's why they don't like me, is because I've actually learned. I've learned more than what a judge is taught.
Right.
That's why Mr. Nisi, Honorable Nisi, knew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He knew when I was standing in front of him that he didn't hire a representative of the ship. I'm not talking to a ghost person with a ghost signature connected to his social security number and his birth certificate. I'm talking to a physical human being in front of me, so I have to respect his civil and human rights, which means life, liberty, pursuit of happiness matters, freedom of speech matters. You know, it all matters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I haven't had a trial for custody, still no trial for custody in over 10 years in the United States.
Yeah.
I told the judge, that's all I need to sue you.
Yeah.
No trial for custody in 10 years, 3 judges, 9 attorneys,
My
And
God.
she just took my children's rights to their father over a claim, and an allegation. I'll send you, and you can share it. You can share the modification
Yeah.
because it's literally ludicrous. A lawyer will come across and go, "Oh, we're going to be billionaires,"
Right. Right.
and I
Right.
don't need a penny. I just wanted to go towards fighting the system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe get me some land up here where it's beautiful, some trees I can climb. But
Yeah.
other than that, put it all back to fighting the system because
Yeah.
it's horseshit.
Yeah.
But my modification, literally, it says mother claims, lawyers allege, father understandably upset, loves his children were the only two facts, and she stripped their legal rights.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Exactly, no due process, and I had already called the CJC, the Board of Overseers for Judges. I called the Board of Overseers for Lawyers. I'll share everything. I'm on videos. A few of them have a few hundred views on my old Facebook there, but I shared them on this one. And I just share everything. And I sit down, I go through my case from day one, and I keep reviewing it. And it's just all to help everybody else down to tear the system apart. And like I told the judge, this ends three ways. Well, it only ends two ways. Either my children get an apology, they get walked through the court, you pay financial restitution, and you help fix the system. Okay. The other thing is you can put me in jail, but now you're giving me time with books. You don't want to give me time with books. I'm Native American and Armenian. You're going to give me 3 squares. I'm not white, I'm not black, so you can't club me up. They're going to find out what I'm there for. The COs already know me. I'm friends with prisoners and COs before I go in. I know both sides. I live this life as me everywhere. I know judges. I know lawyers. I hang out with everybody. you know?
But that's the most powerful thing is knowledge.
Like, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I told her the only other way this ends for you is you tell that bailiff right now to put a bullet in my head.
Jesus.
Because the other 2 ways I win.
Right. Yep.
Oh, I called her a pedophile, child abuser. You're neglecting the fact that my children have a happy, safe, productive father that is actually a hero. My daughter goes to a DARE program at KP, King Philip in Rentham, Norfolk, Mass. And after the DARE program, I'm no longer a hero who got sober for 10 years.
Right.
Now I'm an enemy. I'm evil because, they only give the horror story of alcohol and cocaine. They don't say, here's a survey of anybody experienced any of this in your family.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Before we give an overall bashing of everybody, because before that, my daughter loved me, respected me. That picture that I have on there proves that her mother and her family were talking shit about me.
Yeah.
Because that's what she wrote about me.
And that's so tough.
Say, Dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're the sun, I'll hug you like I'm the clouds.
Yeah.
Is what she wrote on that. I don't care what people say about you. And now 3 years later, my 13-year-old daughter doesn't have to. The judge said she's 13. She doesn't have to talk to you. Who the fuck in their right mind does that to a 13-year-old? You don't have to talk to your father. You're 13.
The judge said that?
What?
Wow. That's surprising because
and this is what the judge doesn't understand. Me calling her out being a pedophile was because she turned around after I told her that I was actually trying to properly correct my daughter and how she was dressing, show her how to get respect. And hey, every woman on Halloween dresses like a slut. You know what I mean? It's cool. I know you're going to have your life. You know what I mean? But at 12 years old, I got to mentor you on how you're going to be viewed in the world.
But that's what's crazy. You almost have to be
She's not going to dress like her mother.
She's not going to what? Dress like who?
Yeah, and I'm not going to be.
Right. No, as you shouldn't be.
That's what the judge told me.
Yeah.
She's not going to dress like her mother.
Right. But as you shouldn't be soft. And
I said,
they all want us to be.
No, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So when the judge did that to me, then I saw that prisoner the next time I went in a couple of weeks later. And I said, Your Honor, I just saw a prisoner get more time and more respect from you than me. I've been fighting for 10 years, doing all the right things, been jumping through all your hoops. You're a pedophile, child abuser. You want to see my 12-year-old's daughter cleavage and midriff? You tell me as a father, 42-year-old man, I can't teach my daughter how to properly dress? You're a pedophile wanting to see a 12-year-old's cleavage and midriff. You don't want me to properly address that? You're a pedophile, child abuser.
Yeah, she probably didn't take that too.
And the bailiff I turned around as I was saying it. The bailiff was smiling. And he said, as long as you don't turn around, you say whatever you got to say. Just don't threaten and don't turn around.
Right.
I was escorted out by 5 bailiffs after talking to, not that day, this is another day, because I went and demanded my judgment. I'm not afraid anymore. You already did it.
Yep.
Put me in jail.
Right.
Do
Right.
it.
What else are you
Put me in my
gonna
head,
do?
put me in jail. I got nothing left to lose.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I've
yeah.
already died. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Well. Let's wrap it up. Wrap it up
I tried
here. 33 minutes. But
It's
let
getting dark behind me.
Yeah, no, no worries. But I would love to have you back. I actually have something to talk to you once we close this up. I have something to ask you. But thank you for coming on the pod, and we will definitely get this episode out there and have you back 100%.
Let me just get down from the people. Yeah, okay.
Say that again.
Awesome,
It cut
brother.
out.
Thank you so much for everything.
Oh
Dan.
yes, very
I'm
welcome.
sorry. Just let me get down before we talk, okay?
Perfect. Yeah, get down
Thank
safe.
you so much for everything you and your partner are doing.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I can't wait to meet you both. Thank you for everything. Thank
All right,
you, Dan.
man.
Thank you, partner.
Yes.
Thank you guys for what you do.
Thank
Love
you.
y'all. Thank you.
Get down safe. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Love y'all. Yeah.